Hi, welcome back to Therapy Designs. If you're new to this channel, my name is Kelly, and this channel is all about teaching you how to create print-on-demand designs using Canva. So if that's something that you're interested in, please stick around. So in today's video, we're going to be making this design right here. It says Fight the Stigma, and it is for Mental Health Awareness Month, which is this month. This is May. So I have chosen the green color because a green ribbon is associated with Mental Health Awareness Month. So I just went ahead and went with the color green for everything. So what we did is we used a sunflower, and I went ahead and removed some of the petals and had some butterflies coming out of it, as is a pretty common design style right now on Amazon. And I went ahead and used the text to make the stem of the flower and just put some little flares around the side. So it's a pretty simple design to make, though it may take you a little bit of time to kind of line everything up and get it the way you want it. So if you would like to learn how to do this, go ahead and stick around. So as always, we're going to start with our blank background. It is 4500 by 5400 pixels because that is the standard t-shirt design for merch by Amazon. I'm going to go ahead and start with, well, it doesn't really matter for this because I'm going to show you, but I'll usually start with a black background. So if I'm coming up here to background color, I can just go ahead and select black. This is how I would typically start. And for this design here, I'm going to be starting with a sunflower. I am going to have to use background removal on the sunflower because I'll show you that's how we're going to get rid of some of the petals so that we can have some butterflies looking like they're kind of coming out of the sunflower. To do that, you're going to have to use either a photo to use photo effects and background removal, or if you want to use a graphic, and we will be using a graphic, you have to save that graphic as an image and then you can use background removal on it. So we're going to come up here to elements, and I'm going to be searching for a sunflower. Okay, and there's a lot that you can use. Obviously, like I said, you can use a photo, and that's great. If you want to be able to change the colors, you might want to use a graphic then that has the ability to change colors. And for this one, I do want to do that because I'm going to be creating a design for Mental Health Awareness Month, and the green ribbon is the color associated with Mental Health Awareness Month. So I want to be able to make my sunflower kind of green in color. So I'm going to come down here to this one, and this graphic here will allow me to change the colors. So this one is what I'm going to start with. I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bigger. And I want to make these kind of orangey yellow areas. I want to go ahead and make those green. So I'm going to start with the lighter color, and I'm just going to pick this green for now. And then these kind of dark orangey colors, that would be this. I'm going to go ahead and make these a nice dark green. So I like the way that looks. So now we're going to be saving this whole thing as an image and then doing a background removal on it. Now, for this image, it would be a good idea to actually change our background color to a color that is not incorporated within the image. So because there is black throughout this image, when it goes to remove the background, it may be removing part of our image that we don't want removed. So to avoid that, we'll just change the background color here to something totally different. Let's say bright pink. So now it will remove everything bright pink when we do the background removal, but it will not touch our sunflower. So I'm just going to come up here to share, and I'm going to download, and we don't have to do a transparent background. We're just going to download as is. And once we have it downloaded, then we can go ahead. There it is, downloaded. I can get rid of this. I can change my background color back to black. And now I can take my design and just drag and drop it right on the page. And we can see it uploading right here. Once it's finished uploading, I'll be able to edit the image. Right now it says I can't, so we'll just give it 1 second. Okay, there we go. So now that it's totally uploaded, I can now work with this a little bit. So I'm going to crop in the edges to start with, and I'm going to hit Edit Image. And for this one, we're going to go ahead and hit Background Removal. Okay, So right now it has removed the pink background, but I want to be able to cut some of these flower petals out. So to do that, I'm going to use this erase tool right here. So if I click on erase, it is now going to pull up my flower, and you can see I can use this erase tool to erase wherever I want. So let's say I want to erase maybe from this petal here to this petal here. And I'm just going to do a real kind of quick outline of the area that I want, which is going to be just like this. So this is kind of the area that I want to erase. And so you can see something like that. Now to get more exact, I can come down here and zoom in on my image so that I can really see what I'm doing. So I can zoom in, and now that I can see a little bit better, I can come in and, you know, get the borders a little bit cleaner. And so you can take your time, get it as clean as you want the edges to be. If you don't need them that clean because you're going to cover them up with something, maybe you're going to have your butterflies kind of overlap, then don't worry about getting them super clean. If you want it to be a nice sharp edge, you might want to take your time and really, you know, make sure your edges are good. If you make a mistake, don't worry, you can always come up here and hit this restore tool, and that will restore the image anywhere you click. So don't worry if you make a mistake. It's not a big deal. It just might take you a little time to fix depending on how big of a mistake it is. And so I'm just going to do something like that. And that's pretty good. If I want to get right in here, these little edges here, I can always change my brush size here. So if I bring that down, I'm going to have a smaller circle. And so smaller circle to work with. I can get a little bit more into the edges. So something more like that if I want to get a little bit more exacting. So here I kind of went too far. So I'll show you. I'm going to hit my restore tool. And I'm going to just restore that edge right there. See? So, and that looks pretty good. So that's going to be good enough for this design. So once I have it the way I want, I'll just click anywhere outside of the page, and here we go. So now we can see. And I'm going to bring these edges in so it's a little bit easier to work with. Just like that. And I'm going to shrink my page back down so I can see the whole page here. So there we go. Now it does sometimes take a second or two for this to finalize, so I don't necessarily want to mess with, there we go, mess with it until it's been finalized. So now I have my image. I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit bigger. You don't have to make it too big. You can always resize it. You can always resize it when you're ready, once you've got kind of the butterflies the way you want them. And I can also change the angle of this opening here. So right now, the angle of this opening kind of comes this general direction. Let's say maybe I want it to go a little bit more sideways. I can always angle my sunflower. So I can, you know, move that opening wherever I want. I don't necessarily want it there, but maybe I want it somewhere there, just so it's going a little bit more towards this corner. So I've got some room to work. So now what I'm going to do for this design is just have some butterflies looking like they're sort of flying away from this area. It's a really common design theme right now. If you kind of search Amazon, do any of your research on Amazon, you'll see sunflowers are very popular at this time. So there's a lot of different sunflower designs, and there's a lot of different designs where you've got the sunflowers with butterflies coming out, or you could do green ribbons for this design, or kind of anything you like. But I'm going to go ahead and select some butterflies. So I'm going to come up here to elements, and this time I'm going to do a search for butterflies. Okay. Now for this, I'm going to want to do graphics, because I'm going to want to select the colors to match my sunflower. So I can come up here and filter. So I can filter photos, graphics, videos. I'm going to filter graphics. Now you'll also see some of them are animated. So like the animated ones, we don't really want those. You can kind of ignore them. If you want to filter them out, if I come up here and I click this, I can filter even further. So here I could filter by color, orientation. Here is where it says static versus animated. So I only want static. So I can click that and apply filter. and now it is going to get rid of all the animated ones. So now I just have static graphics for butterflies. And so there's a lot that I can work with. A lot of them already have colors associated with them. Some of them you can change the colors. So here's one that I like. It has a big grouping of butterflies, and it will allow me to change the color up here, you can see. So just so I can see it real well, I'm going to make it that nice green color. And so that's what it looks like. So now I can rotate this, and I can resize it however I want, and sort of make it go wherever I want. So let's say I wanted it here. I mean, I could rotate it up, but now it's going to be going more towards the top of the page. I don't necessarily like that. If I rotate it this way, I do kind of like that for this border. And I can make it even a little bit bigger so that we can see the butterflies just sort of tapering off there. So I kind of like the way that one looks. And so I might do that again. So I'm going to click this one again. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make it the same color, but this time I'm going to flip it because I want the curve to go the other direction. So I can hit flip. I can flip vertically. And now when I rotate it, you can see it's curving the opposite direction. So I can angle these however I want. Maybe I want to make this one a little bit smaller and angle it a little bit more. Something like that. So now those kind of group together, and it still kind of looks like it's tapering off. There's other groupings down here, so I can use this grouping. I could do more of this. I could do this one here again. Maybe make it an even lighter color if I wanted to. Maybe make it way smaller, something like that. Maybe I want to flip this one vertically again. And so you can play with it however you want. I don't necessarily know that I super like that, but and maybe I want to make that back to the same color again. And so you can see how I can just sort of have them tapering off that way. Yeah, don't love it. Don't love it. This has a nice round edge here, and this kind of looks empty. So, I mean, you can play with sort of the edges. I can use individual butterflies too. Like, so if I just want to pick one here, and maybe I'm going to make this one green. I could put one here kind of flying the other way, just so I could have one maybe in the foreground. And if I wanted to, I could put some, you know, maybe do another one. Yeah, maybe flip him, make him pretty small, and maybe move him up here or here. I could put it there to just sort of fill in that hole a little bit. Maybe make it a little smaller, but so that'll kind of fill that gap a little bit. And if you want to make little itty bitty movements, but you know, it's hard to move it just a little bit, you can always use the arrows on your keyboard. If you use the arrows on your keyboard, it will move each image 1 pixel at a time. So I can use the keyboard images, or sorry, the arrows on the keyboard to get exactly where I want. And again, I can always zoom in. So if I really want to see exactly where I'm at, I want to take this guy, maybe I want to move him down a little bit or right a little bit. I can do that just using some keyboard images. And if I make a mistake, I can always come up here to undo, and it'll take it back 1 step. So if you accidentally move something and you can't get it back the way you want it, no problem. You can always do that. You can also lock things to the screen. So if you know you have it where you want it and you want to just lock it down, that's no problem too. Let's say I really like this right here. I can come up, there's a lock in the corner. If I click that, it's going to lock it in place. So now that will not move. Everything else around it can move, but it can't move. I can also group these all together. So when I'm all done, I'm going to group this all together. But first I want to make sure that I get my butterflies the way I want them. So I can see there's a lot of different other ones I can do. I do want to put a little bit of a flair to it. So this thing right here, it's got some lines. I like that. It's got a little butterfly on it. So I'm probably going to use this too, just to give a little flair to it. And I'm going to angle it. And I might put it something like right here, just to give a little flair. Maybe it depends what angle I want to go at. Something like that looks nice. And I can make that a light color, so I might want to change that to maybe not that light. Maybe I come up here and I just pick a slightly lighter color. Or I could do the opposite. Maybe I want to go a little bit darker. No, I like it a little lighter. So I'll come up, I'll make it a little bit of a lighter color. Something like that looks good. And so I can take that and I can send this to the back so that it's now behind the sunflower, and so that looks good. And so I might do another one. Same thing, I'm gonna bring this one over here. This time I'm gonna rotate it that way. And so I can kind of play with it. I can rotate it however much I want. And maybe I want it looking something like that. I'll change the color again to match the other one. And then I will send this one to the back. And so now I got a little bit of a flare going through my sunflower. I like that. I like my little butterfly in the foreground. This, yeah, I could still play with this. I could layer some more on top if I wanted to. I could put some different colors of butterflies in there too. So you can always play with it as much as you want. Let's see if I find another grouping of butterflies where I can change the colors. So here's a grouping, but you can't always change the colors. This one's not going to let me. So I want one where I can select the colors. This is cool. So here's a butterfly that kind of matches. I can't select the colors, but it does sort of match. So if you wanted maybe a more realistic butterfly in the foreground, I could do it that way too. So maybe I don't want that guy. Maybe I wanted, shrink this dude down. Maybe I wanted something like this guy. So got a lot of options. I'm not going to go with that one though. And just scrolling down some more, see if there's anything else I like. You can see right here's a good example where they've got it kind of branching off. Or here's a head with butterflies sort of coming out of it. So there's a lot of those types of designs. This is really pretty too. But it's blue and I wish it was green. So there's a green butterfly. You got a lot of choices here how you want to do things. I might just leave it like that for now for the purpose of this video, because sometimes it can take a while. But there are some really pretty green butterflies in here too. So let's see, I did want to get rid of that and put a green butterfly here. That's really pretty. Problem with this one is it's going to blend right into my black background, and I do want to be able to design this for a black shirt, so that's why that one wouldn't really work very well. So some of the butterflies won't pop as well on a page if they've got a black body or a black border around them. So those are always things you want to think about when you're designing. Edit image, so that one's not going to let me pick the color either. Okay, I think I'm going to keep it like this for now. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to shrink my page back down so I can see what I'm working with. So far this is what I have. Now I do want to put a little stem here, and I'm going to make the stem out of text so I can get a little writing in here. So this is going to be kind of short. I'm just going to put, maybe I'll put fight the stigma. I could use fight the stigma or end the stigma. Fight the stigma is a little bit longer. It might actually fit better. Let me pull up a text box, and I'm going to write fight the stigma. I'm going to change the color here so that I can see it. I'll make it this nice light color. And I'm going to pull my text box down. And now for this one, I'm going to be coming like that. So the stem is going to come this way. It's going to be something like this, and I'm going to make it curvy and flowy. So I do want to pick a nice script font that I think goes well. So I can come up here to the fonts, and I can go ahead and type in script and filter that way. And so you can pick any script font you want. Just make sure that it's something that's easy to read. So some of these you can read pretty well, and some of these you cannot read at all. So you definitely want to play with it. Make sure that you pick one that's easy to read. I like this Alex brush here because it tends to give it a nice look, but it's also still readable. And so I can take this one, and I'm going to make this one bigger here. And so now having it straight like that doesn't really look very good. So I do want to do a little curve to it. So I can come up to effects. Oops. Sorry, I want the text effects here. So I got my text effects. And there's all sorts of text effects you can use. For this one, I'm going to use curve. And so we can see how it's curving here. And I can make it a big curve, a little curve. I can have it curve the other way a little bit. So I do kind of like it maybe curving the other way a little bit. So something like that. And you can play with how much. If I had a long enough phrase here, what I could do is give it more of an S-shaped curve. So I could have part of the text curving this way, and then a second part of the text curving that way, and that would give it a really cool S-shaped curve. So there's a lot of different ways that you can play with these. This is a pretty short phrase, so it's not really, there's not really a lot of room to do the S-shaped curve, but it's just options. I do also want to put some leaves on here too. So if I come up to elements and I search for a leaf, there's a lot of different leaves I can go with. I want something thin lined, you know, something like that, but maybe just one leaf. A nice outline. So I kind of like this one here. That one looks pretty good. Yeah, so what I can do is I can take this, I can bring this down. I can always change the orientation of it. Maybe I want to put it sort of at the bottom here. Maybe make it a little bigger. Change the color so that it matches the stem, which is this lighter green here. Maybe I want another one off to the other side. So what I can do is hit Control D, that will duplicate it. And then I want to flip it the other way. So let's flip vertically. Whoop. And rotate. Make it a little smaller on this side. I can bring it up. I can bring it up as high as I want. So I can put it maybe here. That looks pretty. Maybe I make this butterfly right here. So something like that. So you can see how the design comes together, and you can play with the colors some more. So this was just a quick example, but you can see it says fight the stigma. I've got my little flares, I've got my butterflies exiting, I can change the colors. This works really well on a black shirt. If you wanted to see what it might look like on different colors, I can always change the background color. So let's say I wanted to put it on a white shirt. You can see it on a white shirt, but some of these lighter greens aren't going to show as well. So if you want to be able to put it on both colors, black and white, you might need to go with a darker color green. I'm not really interested in doing white, so I'm definitely more interested in doing a nice black shirt, or even a dark green might look good. So let's say I wanted to do a dark green shirt. That might work too. But I do think it would look best on black. Okay, now I could also do a little green ribbon here if I wanted to, or put something like mental health awareness down here, or mental health awareness month, or anything like that. If you do anything that says mental health awareness month, that's great for the month, but then you probably won't sell it the rest of the year because people only want to wear it during that month. Something like this could be worn year round, and because it doesn't specifically say mental health, but it says fight the stigma, people who know what that means would be comfortable probably wearing this year round. So it's got a little bit more marketability, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and save this one. So you got the idea of how it looks. I'm going to come up here to share. I'm going to hit download. You need to do a transparent background for a t-shirt. It is a PNG, and so we can just download it like this, and it will be ready to put onto a t-shirt, a sweatshirt. I guess you could put it on a mug or any of the other products that you might be selling on using print on demand, whether you're using merch by Amazon, which mostly just does clothing, tote bags and pillows, or whether you're using a Printful integration with Etsy, or even using Amazon Seller Central. Then you've got a lot more product potential. So something like this you could use for a sticker, you could use on a water bottle, you could use on a poster. So, you know, it's nice to design with your product in mind, but it's also nice to be able to use one design on multiple products. So these are all just things to think about as you're making your designs, but this one right here was made with a black t-shirt in mind. So that is it for this video. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comment section below, and I will get back to them as quickly as I can. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. That's it for today's video. If you found this useful and would like to see more videos with helpful tips and tricks, be sure to hit like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of the weekly videos. As always, keep growing and stay creative, and we'll see you next time.